we're going to build Stirlingkit's world first automobile. Oh, I'm really happy with that. That actually works better outside than inside. Nice, very nice. I'm an engine guy that loves the history of engines and the old times where engine design was a bit of a clean slate. You don't get much older and much more clean slate than 1886. Vintage cars don't get much more vintage than this. Early petrol engines, gasoline engines, were a little bit steam engineering in their design, as you can see by the hit and miss engines that I like and that if you're watching this channel you probably enjoy as well. Actually, I do know what these sound like, and it's an unforgettable sound. There's a full-size working replica of this car. It's a big single cylinder with a huge horizontal flywheel. The flywheel lies flat. Stirlingkit sells Ocmo models. I think it's a 1.9cc working replica if you want to hear that sound for yourself. This model's by Teaching. This has come from Stirlingkit to make for you guys so you can see what it entails. We're going to build from Stirlingkit world's first automobile, and this is heavy. Piece by piece. Yeah, that's really good. I'm going to build this, and I'm not going to show you every step of the build, but I will certainly report about what that build is like. They do come with all the tools you need. There's the chain, it's well made. I can see the chassis, I can see a little custom circuit board, I can see another chain, and yeah, I'll get into it. This is Teaching's jet. There are thousands of screws to do up. You know, it has features like lights and steam coming out the back and all sorts of things like that. So I'm very excited to try their latest kit from Stirlingkit, world's first automobile. So I have high expectations for this kit, and I'm going to spread it out on the table here in the kitchen where my wife is going to get annoyed, and we're going to build this, see how it goes, see what it looks like, see the moving parts, see how long it took me. I'm no expert in building these things, but yeah, we'll see how we go. Three layers of numbered parts. Each of the screws is marked carefully so that you know which size of screw you're getting. These were the first models that Teaching offered. They've obviously offering a lot more now. We've got the English about the history of the model, the history of the engine, and then we've got the sub-assemblies named. Right, this is called a shaft support. That's done. And that goes onto a base, number 4. Within a fraction of a millimeter, everything is screwing in correctly. Yeah, and there's just, for something like this, there's just no having to push or bend anything around to fit it. Okay, that's what they look like. I just found the tweezers. They're quite good, actually. They're not bad. Let me see. Yes, this is 160 and 43. They're already plugged into each other. And this doesn't exactly look like part 43 because it's got that silver on it, where it's actually in the instructions just a black box. Yes, so I was right about this being the right part because that fits exactly in there. This has got a rechargeable battery in it. Power, charging, and battery box for safety. That's all metal. I'm curious whether Jin's Okmo engine is the same size as this one. That would be something, wouldn't it, to actually motorize this with a little petrol engine. We will look at the flywheel size later, and I can, well, here it is, I can tell you the flywheel size, and any of you guys who have Jin's engine can tell me. There's the flywheel. No, I think it's smaller than Jin's engine, but I think it might still be possible. 76. Yeah. Okay. For those of you who have Jin's little petrol engine, 76. Oh yeah, that's gone together most satisfyingly. There it is, building the engine. Okay, right. A little stiffness in my one, so make sure that that rotates well, and make sure that you've screwed these up so that they're not going to come off. I've just realized that I don't have the special gloves for assembly of kits that all the YouTube hobbyists have for their sweaty paws. I have got my genuine sweaty paw sausage fingers, and that's what I'm dealing with. And because that's what you guys are dealing with, so I think that's, you know, can't see that everybody's got those special hobby gloves. I wouldn't even know where to get them, I suppose online, but no, you get the real deal here with Thomas PCGuru Engines. Okay, so what I've done here is I've actually ground a flat spot on there, and I've ground the end off the grub screw so that the thread grips as far up as it can. We want a bearing 133. Hello, Caddipus, have you come to help? Hey, you're still breathing. You're still a sniffly cat. 133 bearing 2x4x2. That's small. 2x4x2, Caddipus. 2mm by 4mm, so 4mm outside. When you get to this stage, which is page 7.17, page 34, stage 7.17, I would say very strongly that you should spin this around. Make sure you can spin it around easily from the top. The aluminium castings and everything on these are remarkable. This is better. This is significantly better. It's a couple of years later. I enjoyed the build process of that. It was quite challenging. It was a couple of days. This was one day, but I enjoyed it more. It's a bit like building a Lego set for those Lego experts. There are different techniques. Let's just look at the base. Bearings everywhere. 2 aluminium plates here. Look at the corners. Look at the strengthening around the bearing wheels here. Very cool to see things like the rack, this little toothed steering rack here, so that when you steer, like the original, more control than you would think, you know what I mean, for a tricycle. It's just the number of bearings everywhere. I mean, there's a little tiny bearing on each side of this wheel, and you know, they didn't have to put all those bearings in everywhere. Let's turn it on and look at some of the detail. So you can see the intake and exhaust valves. This little tappety thing tappeting away under my thumb up there. The clutch operates as it's supposed to. This controls your belt tightening, and if I push that forward, it's going to go into gear. Yep, there it is. If I take it off, those are just going into coasting mode. They're not powered really at the moment.
This is the layout underneath. Electric motors in here. This is the belt that comes from the engine. It drives both of these wheels at the same time. Each of these wheels is mounted by ball bearings on the shaft, and this gear is connected to the wheel by clutching assembly. You can see the number of screws in there. It's really fun and clever the way this all goes together. You'll notice it's even got the step for the person to get up into the car. There you go. You can put your foot there and lift yourself up into the car. This is the wheel that controls the petrol intake, fuel intake valve. There's the engine and the assemblies that control the valves. Let's just turn that on. The piston is going back and forth in this engine. There it is. You can see it on that side going back and forth. The engine's open on that side. Let's turn this around. Yeah, you can see the piston going back and forth quite well there. I love the painting. This wheel here and the engine as a whole. Now, if you are getting to be quite obsessive, you could probably get these wheels straight. One of mine is not actually. They're both a little. I mean, that's exactly what I expected, that both those wheels would not be 100% straight. So here it is running on the base. Now, these are really good wheels on bearings, but they're not quite reaching on my one. I'm just going to push it over a little bit so it's riding on the base. But it doesn't want to stay there. The other side is just coming off if I do that. I'll let it go and it's come off. It still works absolutely fine, so that's not really a great problem. So I'm going to put it on the wheel and it's just going to ride itself off. Now, obviously I can space those wheels out. So that's one of the very, very few things that isn't working perfectly. The other thing that's not working perfectly is the belt clutch. Now the belt clutch works through here. Let's see what that does. You can see there's a belt rider. Yeah, you can see the belt rider going in, you can see the belt going down. But the belt at the moment is just a bit too tight, so that even in this form, transmission still occurs. Weak transmission, but it still occurs. I mean, it's a model, you know, let's not get too fussy, but I thought I should be accurate in my review. I still think it's an almost faultless build. Very nicely made. And what I love is trundling it around on the floor. I don't even particularly like it running on this anyway. I mean, you can set your steering, as you can see. You can just trundle it around on the floor if you want to do that. Oh, we've got a bit of side slippage on this surface. That's wooden floor because it's not turning. It's going to run over the cat, I think. Yep, goes quite happily and probably works a bit better for the... Yeah, that's really good. So the clutch is working on this surface. Oh, I'm really happy with that. That actually works better outside than inside. Nice, very nice. Okay, let's go. Take those wheels off and straighten them up if you were so inclined. This is going to spend most of its time probably in a glass case. I think it deserves it, so I don't know that I need to do that to the wheels. Spare parts, quite a few. Bearings are at the middle of the screen. We've got 3 and a washer, 4 bearings there. Plenty of the spare screws and lock nuts. The kit that I got from Stirlingkit last time I enjoyed hugely, so I expected to enjoy this. But I enjoyed this more. Maybe because an engine and a car are more relatable to me. Maybe because the construction methods were just so clever, the way that everything came together. Within
a 20th of a millimeter, everything fit. I think there was 2 screws. Of all the screws in this thing, there were 2 that you had to push the mounts to get the screws in to line up. Everything else just lined up so well, and that's a constant source of enjoyment, actually, to a technical old bastard like me. That's a constant source of enjoyment to have everything line up so beautifully in what's supposedly a mass-produced device. I know it's small run mass-produced, but how hard do you have to work to get everything to line up like that? The detail here, the seat and the steering, it just works really, really well. It's certainly the best model of this that I've seen. And yes, I think it's actually very close to museum quality. Yeah, very nice. Lots of fun.